You are listening to Northern Pinnacle Media.
You're listening to Northern Pinnacle Media.
It's that time of year again. Canada West basketball is about to get going. The Dinos have NCAA games on their palette. And the Trojans, Ambrose, ready to go for ACAC basketball. I got Media Day set and a breakdown of what's coming on, put on the board, and the ISO. I'm Joshua Adamley Marcotte. Let's get into it. Thanks everyone for listening to the ISO on Put on the Board Hoops Association with Northern Pinnacle Media. And as I mentioned, the University of Calgary Dinos. We are just 1 day, 20 hours, 25 minutes, and 38 seconds until some Dino basketball. But who's counting? That's right, me, Josh Arbuthnot, lucky to call myself the play-by-play of the University of Calgary Dinos. And it starts this Tuesday against the Purdue Boilermakers. Then they will take on Marquette on Wednesday in Langley, BC. That's at 4 o'clock Mountain Time. The Purdue game is at 7. And then they travel to the Bahamas. They take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. And then a really cool one, they take on Coach Cal and the Arkansas Razorbacks in the Bahamas. That'll be at 10 a.m. next Tuesday. A really exciting game going against a team that had a nice run in the NCAA tournament and going against one of the best coaches in collegiate basketball in Coach John Calipari. That's going to be a must-watch for all basketball fans and for this Dinos team to get themselves tested early on. You know, they've lost a few seniors. Congrats to Mr. Sabalaskas for finding a pro club. We salute him and wish him the best in all his future endeavors. And for this Dinos team, well, we can't talk about the roster just yet. We can get a look at what this team is, and I'll be reviewing those games as they happen. We'll talk about, on Wednesday, I believe we'll be dropping a pod, talking about what they did against Purdue and what they did against Marquette. And then kind of in a similar fashion next week, I'll come back later on the Tuesday, maybe early Wednesday, to talk about the games against Cincinnati and Arkansas, and to give my thoughts of what we are seeing early on here from the University of Calgary Dinos. And then the men will travel to Nova Scotia to take on St. FX. But then we get to the main event. The main event. And we're going to switch to the women's side because I'm really excited about this matchup. This is one of the most anticipated matchups in my entire career of broadcasting that I am just so excited that I have the luxury to call. It will be the Dinos, it'll be the Huskies. And when you think about all the statistics for the University of Saskatchewan Huskies going into that match, and we'll talk about it a lot more as we get closer and closer. Calgary beat them in Saskatchewan last year on the road to win the Canada West Championship. The last time that the Huskies lost on the road was the 2024 home opener for the University of Calgary Dinos. So a chance for Calgary to knock off this Huskies team one more time to defend their Canada West title. You know that the national champs are going to be hungry. They won the national championship. They were one of the best teams in all of Canada collegiate basketball last year. But that Canada West championship, you know they won it. They won the Natty. Congrats to them. Calgary came in third in the national round and now look to defend their Canada West championship. They're going to be without some major players on their team. No Sydney Milam. No steals leader in Amelie Calling. Congratulations to her on getting her pro deal. And one of the best players that can go out and knock down a three, play defense, and play in the post as well in Pollyanna Story. Missing those three players. But we look at players like Courtney Oss, who I believe are going to take a major jump up. Already we're seeing it last year. And when we got to the national championship round of things, Courtney Oss was already showcasing herself as one of the best talents, not just on this Calgary Dino team, not just in Canada West, but the entire country, nay, all of collegiate basketball, the way she was dominating on the defensive side, really starting to find her offensive. This Dinos team is led by one of the best coaches in Sarah Besselink. I am so excited to see what this women's team can bring this year with Courtney leading it and everyone else that they have coming in here and returning. I'm really excited to see what this University of Calgary team can do. But as the schedules were coming out for Canada West, for the ACAC, and I saw the home opener was against the Huskies, it got me excited. Because you know that the Huskies are going to come in. We're talking about Lisa Tomaitis, one of, if not, the greatest female collegiate basketball coach that we've seen. And you know that she's not going to take it lightly. You know she's going to come into the Jack and get those wins back and start the season off like she always has, right? Undefeated, no blemishes on the record, moving forward in a positive manner. But Courtney Oss and this Dinos team, I think, are going to have other answers for that, and I'm really excited to see the way it goes. For the men's side, a few new faces coming in here. We'll talk about that later in some upcoming pods. I kind of want to wait and see these new faces in these games coming up, and then we can break it down a little bit more like that. But I'm really excited to see what they can do coming in to the season. There's a few freshmen that now are going to be becoming sophomores, like Dollywall. Will he be able to have taken his game up to the next level? He held a heavy load last year as a freshman and really started coming in his own. David Tuchoke, I thought he really grew last year as well. A guy like Beckett Johnson suffered an injury last year, started to get his way back just before we got to the national championship. Now he gets to kind of have the summer to rehab among some other players on this Calgary Dinos team for the men's side. So I'm excited to see them in these 4 games coming up. And then same with the women, really excited for that Huskies game. So when I saw the schedule, I was very excited about that. And then we have the other side of the coin, the St. Mary's Lightning and the Ambrose Lions. That game is going to be absolutely electrifying. Seeing those teams line up against each other. For the Ambrose Lions, we'll be doing media day for them again. Can't confirm exactly when I'll be putting those out and how we're going to be doing some of those things, but I'm really excited to get to interview some of these players on the Ambrose Lions. We look at Adre Bocan, who has every opportunity to be an MVP this year, lead in rebounds again, lead in assist, does everything all over the court, right? Audrey Dayrit also going into a senior year for the Ambrose Lions. 2 key seniors for this team, and Coach Ward has been coaching them up more and more and more. It's an Ambrose team that is going to be hungry, that is going to want an opportunity to have a chance at a championship in the ACAC. And we look at the other side, too, on the men's side, there's so many storylines, right? This is just an introductory pod right now. It's July 26th. So we have a lot of time. We still have 2 months or so before we get into the season, and we're going to be doing interviews. But the big signing so far for me was Amici Williams going to the SAIT Trojans, being the longtime Keanu Husky that he was. And obviously Jeremy, no longer the coach there, but coming to SAIT, that one kind of caught me off guard. That was a great get. It's a SAIT Trojans team last year that looked undefeatable, right? They didn't look like they were going to lose a game. And then it was kind of deja vu all over again. The team that was undefeated taking on their rival, and this time it was the Keanu Huskies that took a win away from the Trojans in a semifinal and took away the ability for them to go to the national championship in what would be Jeremy's last game coaching the Keanu Huskies, well, on his road to stop coaching the Keanu Huskies. So that was, you're talking about moments last year in the ACAC tournament. I'm working the national championship last year, but I couldn't help but want to pay attention to that game just because of all the historic stuff that it could have, right? George Lucas always kind of talks about it's like poetry, it rhymes, right? In the way that he makes filmmaking. But sometimes sports does the same thing, right? That's one of those things that you see when sports is just going to hit you. You just know the storytelling of it all just made sense for SAIT to lose that way to Keanu. And it's one of the best rivalries that we have in the ACAC. It's going to be no different this year coming forward. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Looking forward to seeing a lot of seniors. I talked about the Ambrose ones. It's going to be Kyler Vargas last season as a SAIT Trojan. And, that's someone, too, that I feel like has every opportunity to come for an MVP, come for a first-team ACAC, and her teammates that she's going to have. Coach Schultz is back. They didn't get an ACAC championship. They didn't defend the ACAC championship that they won the year priorly. So you know Kyler, and I know Kyler, being the competitor that she is, she's going to want another opportunity to leave on an ACAC championship, potentially a natty. So I'm really excited to see what the Trojans can do as well. But last year I didn't get to do as many SAIT Trojans games, and I'm really excited this year to get to see this SAIT Trojans team. It's also the last year for the SAIT Trojans in the bubble, because after this year we're moving into that new arena. So will they be able to get one more championship in this bubble and open this new state-of-the-art facility hanging a banner? That'd be something for either the men or for the women. Really, I feel that the Dino women, like I said, I'm really excited for them. You know, Dan Van Horn and the Dinos, you can't keep him down. Dan is a 20-plus year veteran in this sport that we all love. And last year, you know, there was ups and downs for this Dino season, but the one thing I'm never going to do is count out Dan Van Horn. He's one of the best collegiate basketball coaches that we've seen. And I think that the growth that they're going to have from some of their sophomores, like I mentioned earlier, like Dollywall, like Tajoke, and others, I feel like the Dinos men team is going to take a big jump. I feel like this women's team, it's hard. It's hard when you lose people like Story and like Amelie Collin. But I feel like they have a very deep bench. They also have a very good coach. And then as far as this podcast goes, we're going to kind of do the same thing you see on the Put It On The Board page. Is we're going to be not just doing highlights of the games, because I didn't really feel like that clicked for a lot of people. But we'll be picking stars out every single week. And those are going to be the games that I call. If I didn't see your game, I apologize. But if there's a performance from somebody and I didn't see the game, please let me know. And I will go out of my way and I will try to find that game and edit it to put it on the board. But the key for me this year is any game that I call, I will pick out a star of that and I will do the tape of that player that week, and that will be the star of the week. That will be the player showcase of the week. And then we'll have the podcast that I'll do late Sunday, early Monday, that'll come out. I will have about my top 5 players that I saw this week, the top 5 performances. I'll go over the standings and everything like that, but I'll talk about the top 5 players this past game that I saw and the games that I see and the platform I have with this podcast. I'm going to take it upon myself this year to see who the best players that I saw this year, where I would rank people on individual successes as far as defense, MVP, 6 man and woman performances, coaches. So we're going to have a lot of input and talking about Canada West basketball, talking about ACAC basketball on here, because that outlet isn't there as much for some people. And I'm very lucky and privileged that I have the ability to be a play-by-play and an anchor for both those leagues right now in 3 phenomenal collegiate institutions. And I look forward to bringing it on here and highlighting those players, highlighting those plays, and I can't wait. So we'll have that for you soon. You've been watching the ISO. I'm Joshua Adam William Marathon. Cheers. Enjoy the news, people.